Is my screen is visible to everyone? Screen 3 dapa. Unmute your mic and answer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right, fine. So we can
Yes,
start
sir.
this class. Okay, right, fine, fine. Thank you. So last class we discussed a four-stroke engine and a two-stroke engine, right? So in this four-stroke engine, the suction stroke, compression, expansion, and the exhaust strokes are there, right? So in this suction stroke, during the suction stroke, the inlet valve is open, right? So during the suction stroke, the inlet valve is open and the exhaust valve is closed, right? So due to the piston movement from the TDC to BDC, right? From the piston movement from the TDC to BDC, the vacuum is created inside the cylinder, right? So due to this vacuum, due to the vacuum pressure differential, the inlet charges will be sucked through the inlet manifold to the cylinder, right? So it is called the suction stroke. Then what about the compression stroke, right? So again the piston will move from BDC to TDC. From BDC to TDC, the air fuel mixture, is compressed, right? While it is in compression stroke, the both the valves are in closed condition. The both the valves are in closed condition. Either inlet valve and the exhaust valve is in closed condition, right? Right. So at the end of the compression stroke, the piston reaches the TDC. The piston reaches the TDC, that is top dead center, right? So before reaching the TDC, what will happen means the combustion will takes place. The combustion will ignites, right? So the spark plug ignites the spark, right? So what will happen? The combustion process will occur, right? So due to this combustion process, the air fuel mixture is burned, right? So while burning, it will develop a more pressure as well as the heat, right? So due to the pressure, what will happen? Again, the piston pushed from the TDC to the BDC, right? It is called the power stroke or expansion stroke, right? So uh, while the piston moves from TDC to BDC, before that BDC region, before it reaches the BDC region, slightly above the BDC position, the exhaust valve is open. The exhaust valve is open. Then the burned gases, due to the pressure differential, it will go out. It will start to go out, and again the again the exhaust stroke will happen, right? So the piston will be moves in upward direction. So all the exhaust gas will be sent to this exhaust system, right? So these are the four strokes, right? These are the four strokes, right? So here, and the compression stroke and the expansion stroke, between these strokes, right, the combustion process will be taking place. The combustion process is taking place, and between these two strokes, right, expansion stroke as well as the exhaust stroke, the exhaust blowdown process is taking place. Exhaust blowdown, right? So here the two processes are taking place, right? So the stroke wise, it will have a four strokes, right? Suction stroke, compression, expansion, and the exhaust stroke. But in the process term, the combustion process and the exhaust blowdown process is there, right? So this term we discussed in last class. Then this animation we can see. So here the combustion will be takes place. Here it is the spark plug, right? So the spark plug ignites at the end of the compression stroke. At the end of the compression stroke, right? But in the two-stroke engine, the four strokes, that is the suction, the four process, suction, compression, power, and exhaust, will be taking place in a two stroke itself, right? So the suction and compression will take place in upward stroke, and the power and exhaust will be taking place in a downward stroke, right? So the difference between the 4-stroke and 2-stroke is the power stroke, right? The power stroke is right. So for the power stroke is developed for the one revolution of the crank, right? The power stroke, right? The power stroke is produced in one revolution of crank in the 2-stroke engine, but in the 4-stroke engine, the power stroke produced in every 2 revolution of the crankshaft, right? And one more major difference is the valves, right? So in 4-stroke engine, we are using the valves, but in the 2-stroke engine, instead of valves, we are using the ports. We are using the ports, inlet port and exhaust port, right? And the removal of the burned gases, the removal of the burned exhaust gases from the engine cylinder, it's a process. That process is called as scavenging, right? It is a repeated 2 mark on every IC engine questions. We can expert this question, what is scavenging, right? So it is a process to remove the exhaust burning gas, exhaust burned gas from the cylinder to the atmosphere, right? So it is called the scavenging process, right? So here we can see the 2-stroke engine symbol, that component, right? So here we have an inlet port and exhaust port, and one more port is there, that is called the transfer port, right? So the exhaust port and the transfer port is opposite to each other, right? And here see, a piston head is a crown type. The piston head is a special shaped crown type, which is helped the first charges through the transfer port is coming from the system. Coming from the crankcase to the cylinder, in upward direction. Then this shape is useful to remove the exhaust gas. This shape is useful to remove the exhaust gas through the atmosphere. So these are the comparison between the 2-stroke and the 4-stroke engine. So we already discussed, right? So the power stroke will be produced in every 2 revolution in 4-stroke engine, but in the 2-stroke engine, the power stroke is produced in each revolution of the crankshaft. And in the 4-stroke engine, we are using the valves, right? Instead of valves, here we are using the ports, and the crank is not a fully closed one, airtight. But here the crank is fully closed and airtight. Why? Because the fresh charges are compressing in that cylinder itself, right? So the cylinder will be airtight and fully closed. And for the 4-stroke engine, the piston compresses the gases or compresses the working fluid in the top of the piston, right? In the cylinder, in the 4-stroke engine, the piston compresses the charges in the top of the piston head, but here not like that, right? So both the sides, the piston compresses the charges, right? Charges means here the working fluid. Then the flywheel, right? The flywheel is comparatively larger in the 4-stroke engine, and flywheel is comparatively smaller in the 2-stroke engine. And here the full amount of fluid, the full amount of fuel is consumed, but here not like that, right? Some amount of fuel is going out in starting itself. Then the weight per engine for the HP is high, and here it's comparatively low. Then the thermal efficiency is high in the 4-stroke engine, and 2-stroke engine is comparatively low. And the removal of gas is here easy, but here some difficult, right? Then the torque is produced even, here not even, right? So the speed of all the types of speed is possible in the 4-stroke engine, but mostly high speed engines are used in 2-stroke engines, but it will produce more emissions, right? So these are the terms we discussed in last class, right? Either my screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right, fine. Just wait, just a second. Okay, fine. Now my screen is visible.
Yes,
Unmute
sir.
your mic and okay, right, fine. Then the comparison between the SI engine and CI engine, right? We can see the what is SI engine? It's a spark ignition engine, and CI is a compression ignition engine, right? Most of spark ignition engines is used in Otto cycle, that is the petrol engine as well as the gas engines, right? For the CI, that is a compression ignition engine, the basic type of cycle is the diesel cycle. The diesel cycle is a basic type of cycle. Then the fuel used, right? Depending upon the fuel, for the SI engine, we are using the petrol as well as the gas. The petrol as well as the gas we are using, but here we are using the diesels, right? Then here we are using how we can use the fuel, right? For the SI engine, we are using the mixture of the air and fuel. Here we are using the mixture of air and fuel. So for the mixing purpose, we are using a carburetor, right? For the mixing purpose, we are using the carburetor and the ignition system, right? So we are using a carburetor for mixing the air and fuel. But here in the CI engines, there is only the fuel injectors is there. Here the fuel injector is there. The fuel is directly injected by the injector to the in the form of droplets, fine droplets, right? Then the throttling controls the air fuel mixture. Here the throttling is controlled the air fuel mixture. That is, it controls the carburetor nozzle. It will control the carburetor nozzle. But here the fuel injector, right? The load control will be the amount of fuel injected through the fuel injector, right? Then the ignition, here spark ignition is used, that is here the spark plug is used for the ignition, right? But here self ignition occurs. Here the self ignition occurs. For the compression ratio, here the compression ratio is comparatively low while comparing the CI engines, right? Here 6 to 10, right? So most probably 5 to 8 is used for petrol engines, right? And here 16 to 20. Then the speed, right? So here due to the light weight of the mixture, light weight of the combustion, it will produce the high speed engines, right? So here for the diesel engines, it's a low speed engine, right? Then the thermal efficiency is lower compression ratios, right? In here, the thermal efficiency is higher. Why? Because the compression ratio. Why? Because the compression ratio is high, right? Here the compression ratio is low, so the thermal efficiency is low in SI engine. Then the weight construction to the lower peak pressure, and here higher peak pressure, right? So these are the difference between the SI engine and the CI engines, right? So we can move to the next topic, that is as standard cycles. In internal combustion engines, the conversion of the heat energy into the mechanical work is complicated process, right? Why? Because the working fluid passes through the engine and the combustion will take place. Then complicated chemical, thermal, and the physical changes are occur, right? So friction between, that is friction and the heat transfer between the gases and the cylinder valve in actual engine, right? For the as standard cycle, we can assume some factors, right? So then only we can easily understand the as standard cycles, right? So what are the assumptions are there? right? We already discussed for the SI engines. For SI engines, the air fuel mixture is come into the inlet manifold and it will be a charge, right? But for the assumption of the air fuel cycle, that is the assumption of the air standard cycles, only the working fluid is a ideal air, right? So here not a air fuel mixture, right? So we are assuming only the gas, only the air is an ideal gas, right? Air is an ideal, that is pure air is a working fluid, and the specific heat, right? So for the specific heat, it will be considered as a constant one, right? But in actual engines, the specific heat varies depending upon the temperature. But in air standard cycles, we are assuming that the constant specific heat is there, right? So the first assumption is the working fluid we are considering as a ideal gas, that is the pure air with constant specific heat. And the second assumption is the fixed mass of air. The mass flow rate is fixed, right? The mass flow rate is the amount of air sucked in a suction stroke. The amount of air is constant throughout the system. The constant throughout the system. Then the third one, right? Instead of the combustion process, instead of the compression process, we can supply the heat. We can supply the heat. That is the heat transfer process, right? So in this combustion process, we are using the external source, right? We are using the external source as a spark plug. We can ignite the spark plug and the air fuel mixture is burned in the actual engine. But in air standard cycles, instead of the combustion process, then all the cycles, right? All the cycles are considered, it is a reversible process. All the cycles are considered the reversible process, and the strokes, the compression stroke and the expansion stroke is considered a reversible adiabatic process or isentropic process. Reversible adiabatic or isentropic process, right? Then here the medium does not undergo any chemical changes, right? It is a main point, right? So the assumption, it's a main assumption. Why? Because for the next cycle, air fuel cycles or fuel air cycles, the major role is a chemical energy, right? But here in the air standard cycles, the assumption is here that does not undergo any chemical changes. And one more is it is a frictionless. The engine consists as considered as a frictionless engine, but in actual engine more friction is there, right? So the what are the assumption is made, right? So for the air standard cycle, that is air standard cycles, we are assuming the major factors. One is the working fluid. Here the working fluid is purely ideal gas, that is air with constant specific heat, and the amount of flow rate is constant. Fixed mass of air is passing through the entire cycle, and we are replacing the combustion process into a heat transfer process. Then the process is a reversible process, and the compression stroke and expansion stroke process are considered as a reversible adiabatic process. Reversible adiabatic process or isentropic process, that is P V power gamma is equal to C, right? So we already studied this formula, right? So PV power gamma is equal to C, right? So for the compression stroke as well as the expansion stroke, we are using this condition, right? So for the air standard cycles, here we are seeing the basic three cycles, right? One is the Otto cycle, dual cycle, and dual compression cycle, right? So we can see the first cycle. What is the Otto cycle, right? A German scientist, A. Nicholas Otto, in German scientist A. Nicholas Otto is developed a Otto cycle, right, in 1876, right? It is the air standard cycle. It's a ideal air standard cycle with a constant volume heat addition. With a constant value heat addition, it is the basic for all spark ignition engines. That is the petrol engine as well as the gas engines, right? Here it is the Otto cycle. Here it is the Otto cycle. It's a PV diagram for Otto cycle, right? So the piston at the point 1, right? At the point 1, right? The piston is at an bottom dead center, right? So for example, if we see, right, it is a cylinder, and here it is the piston head. Here it is the piston head, right? At the point 1, at the point 1, the piston position is, here it is the BDC position. Here it is the that is bottom dead center, and here it is the top dead center, right? So the piston moves from here to here, right? So here, what is that? Here it is the stroke length, right? So the piston moves from TDC to BDC. That is called the stroke length, or the volume displacement, volume or swept volume, right? Then between the cylinder head, and the top dead center, the volume is called as clearance volume. The volume is called as clearance volume, right? So at the point 1, see here, at the point 1, the piston is in bottom dead center, right? The piston is in bottom dead center, and the air is trapped inside the cylinder. See, the air is trapped inside the cylinder. That is the indirect suction stroke, right? The air is trapped inside the cylinder. The piston move upwards or move towards the top dead center, right? At the piston moves upwards with the walls are remaining closing condition. Walls are remain closed condition. That is the compression stroke, right? So the air is compressed isentropically, or a reversible adiabatic process. The air is compressed. The air is compressed. See here, the while compressing the air, what will happen? The pressure will be increases, right? So from the point 1, the pressure 1, and here the pressure 2, right? What about the pressure? The pressure is increased. Why? Because we have to compress the air mixture. We have to compress the air, right? So it is in the process of 1 and 2. 1 and 2. It's a reversible adiabatic process or isentropic process. Here we are not supplying any heat. So there is no heat transfer in this process, right? There is no heat transfer in this process, right? So after completing the compression stroke, right? So what will happen in the actual cycle? We are giving the combustion process, right? But instead of combustion process, here we are giving the heat transfer, that is Q addition, that is heat transfer, right? So heat transfer in the process of constant volume, right? So in the piston will be in the TDC position, right? So here the heat will be added. Here the heat will be added. That is the heat transfer, right? So the volume will be constant here, right? So the heat addition in the constant volume process, right? So the process 2 and 3, it is the constant volume heat addition process. Then what will happen? Here the suction stroke is over. Suction stroke, compression stroke, and the exhaust stroke, right? So again, what will happen? The isentropic expansion will occur. The isentropic expansion, that is a reversible adiabatic or isentropic expansion is occurs. Then there to no heat transfer. Then the exhaust stroke, right? So during the exhaust stroke, the removal of gases will be occurs, right? So before that, the exhaust stroke, we are having the exhaust blowdown, right? So in 4-stroke engine, the first one is the suction, compression, the power, and the exhaust stroke is there, right? So between these two, we are having the combustion process, and between these two, we are having the exhaust blowdown process, right? So instead of compression process, we are giving the heat supplied. Instead of compression process, we are giving the heat supplied in the 2 and 3 process. And instead of the exhaust blow down process, we are removing the heat. We are removing the heat, that is heat rejected, right? So here the heat will be rejected. So the fourth process is the constant volume heat rejection process. Is it clear? Unmute anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right, fine.
Yes, sir.
It's a PV diagram for the Otto cycle, right? So here, what is the compression ratio? Here compression ratio is there, and then expansion ratio is there, right? So what is the compression ratio, right? So the compression ratio means the maximum volume. The maximum volume, that is the before compression. Before the compression, what is its volume? Then after the compression, what is its volume, right? So the ratio between these two volumes is called as the compression ratio, right? So here, what is the maximum value? So for the first point, it is the compression stroke. 1 to 2 is the compression stroke. So here we are occurring, we can get the compression ratio, and here the expansion ratio is there, and here the expansion ratio is there, right? So for the process 1 to 2, compression ratio, and 3 to 4, the expansion ratio, right? Okay. For the compression ratio, it's a ratio between before the compression and after the compression, right? So before the compression, what is its volume? The volume will be indicated as V1, right? The volume will be V1 divided by, then at the end of the compression stroke, what will be the volume? V2, right? V2, right? So here, what is the V1? It's a total volume. It's a total volume from the line, the axis, right? So here it is the clearance volume, and here it is the swept volume. So the V1 is the addition of the clearance volume plus the swept volume, right? So here the V1 is the addition of the VC by the clearance volume and the swept volume. Then what about the V2? So V2 is the clearance volume. V2 is the clearance volume, right? So it is called as the compression ratio. Then what about the expansion ratio? Same, right? So for the expansion ratio, right? So before expansion and the after expansion, right? So the compression ratio means the after expansion and before expansion, right? So for the Otto cycles, these two are same, right? So for the Otto cycles, the compression ratio and the expansion ratio are same, right? But in the diesel cycle, it differs, right? So here the Q1 is a heat supplied process, that is constant volume heat addition process, and 4 to 1, it's a heat removal process, right? So corresponding PV diagram, we can see the TS diagram, right? What is TS, right? So temperature and the entropy, right? So for the process 1 to 2, 1 to 2 is the isentropic compression process, right? In this compression process, we are not giving any heat. Right? So mainly the entropy is a function of the temperature. Right? So here we are not giving any heat, right? So for the process 1 and 2, it's isotropic compression process. Here we are not giving any heat. We are not supplying any heat in this process, right? So what will happen? So the entropy is constant. So this process, the entropy is constant. But due to the compression of the air, the pressure is directly proportional to the temperature. So the temperature will slightly increases. Why? Because the pressure difference, right? So the P1 and P2, right? So here the pressure will increases. So automatically for the thermodynamic law, the pressure increases means the temperature also increases, right? So the temperature is slightly increases, right? So here the T1 temperature and T2 temperature, but here the entropy is constant. Why? Because in this process we are not supplying any heat, we are not supplying any external heat, right? So the entropy is constant. So process 2 and 3, the constant volume heat addition process. If we are additioning, we are giving the heat, so what will happen? The entropy, it drastically changes, right? So we are additioning the heat in the process of 2 and 3, that is in the constant volume process. In that constant volume process we are additioning the heat, so the entropy drastically increases, right? So the entropy is drastically increases, so the temperature is drastically increases, as well as the entropy also increases. Like again, in the expansion process, we are not giving any heat, or heat supplied or heat rejected, so the entropy is constant throughout the expansion process. And again the heat is rejected in the process of constant volume heat rejection, that is 4 to 1. So the temperature is drastically reduces, and the entropy also reduces, changing entropy also reduces, right? So here are you understood this concept, right? PV diagram as TS diagram.
Yes, sir.
Right, fine. So we can see the how we are calculating the as standard efficiencies, right? How we can calculate the efficiency. Right. So already we discussed what is compression ratio. The compression ratio means the before compression, right? Before compression, what is the volume, and the after compression, what is its volume, right? So the ratio between these two volume is called as the compression ratio, right? So the total volume here before the compression, here VC and VS, right? VC and VS. VC is the clearance volume and VS is the swept volume, right? So it is called the total volume, right? So the total volume of the cylinder is, see, VS, that is swept volume, and the clearance volume, it is the total volume, right? So before the start of the compression stroke, what is the volume? It's the maximum volume, right? So the maximum volume is the addition of the swept volume as well as the clearance volume. Then at the end of the compression stroke, the clearance volume, what is the volume? V2, right? So it is called as the compression ratio. At the same time, the expansion ratio also same for this question. Why? Because this cycle for the expansion, excuse me, right? So here in the expansion ratio, right, it is the expansion process, right? Right here 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? So 3 and 4 is the expansion process, right? So here the volume will be the V4 and here the volume will be V3. Expansion ratio means the ratio between the volume of after the expansion and the before expansion, that is V4 by V3, right? It is denoted by RC or RK. It is denoted by RC or RK, right? So in this Otto cycle, the expansion ratio and the compression ratio are same, right? So what is the efficiency? Generally, the efficiency means the output by input. Output by input, right? So that is called the efficiency, right? So what is the output, right? So due to supply, due to the heat addition, right? How much work is obtained? How much work is we can get, right? That is the output. Then the input is how much heat will be supplied. How much heat will be supplied, right? So general law, what is means we can give the heat, work, and then plus or minus the change of the internal energy. It is the first law of thermodynamics. It is the first law of thermodynamics, right? So here the work done, right? You already see this type of questions, right? So here the source is there, and here the heat engine is there, and here the sink is there, right? So here we are supplying the heat, then here rejecting the heat, and some work done process will be occur, right? So the difference between the heat supplied and the heat rejected is called the work done, right? So for the work done, the difference between, that is the heat supplied minus heat rejected divided by the heat supplied, right? So 1 minus heat rejected by heat supplied, right? So in this Otto cycle, the both heat supplied and heat rejected in the process of constant volume, right? In the constant volume, right? So we are using MCV, that is the specific heat at constant volume. We are using specific heat, that is heat capacity, that is mass flow rate into the specific heat and the temperature difference, right? So this process, right? So 2 to 3, it is the heat addition, and here it is the heat rejection, right? So here the temperature is T3 and here the temperature is T2. The temperature difference between T3 and T2, and the process in a constant volume process. So we are taking the specific heat in a constant manner, and the mass flow rate is fixed mass flow rate we are using, right? So the Q1 is MCV T3 minus T2, and the heat rejected Q2, that is MCV T4 minus T1, right? So T4 minus T1, right? So we are substituting these values here. Here the CV is cancelled. So 1 minus T4 minus T1 divided by T3 minus T2, right? Is it clear? Understood? Anyone understood? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So up to this we can see in a earlier slide, that is our previous slide, right? Then the process 1 to 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Here the Q in and Q out we see in this one, right? So instead of the Q value, we forming the thermal efficiency here, right? And corresponding temperature, how we can substitute the values, right? So generally it is an adiabatic compression process. It is an adiabatic compression process. What we are using, PV power gamma is equal to C. PV power gamma is equal to C, right? So process 1 and 2. So what will happen? So P1 V1 power gamma, which is equal to P2 V2 power gamma, right? So here V1 by V2 power gamma, which represents, right? So V1 by V2 power gamma, which represents P2 by P1, right? So here what is V1 by V2? V1 by V2 is a compression ratio, right? So the P, which is equal to compression ratio power gamma, right? So for the same, we are using the temperature, right? So T2, that is the maximum temperature, right? So in this process, which one is maximum temperature? Either 1 or 2. The 2 is the maximum temperature, right? So maximum temperature by the minimum temperature. At the same time, what about the volume? Where the volume will be more? So in this process, the 1 at the point 1, the volume is more, and the 2, the volume is less, right? So for the maximum temperature, and we are taking the maximum volume, right? So T2 by T1, which is equal to V1 by V2 power gamma minus 1, right? So V1 by V2 is equal as the compression ratio, right? So the T2, so we are substituting the T1 here, right? So T2 is equal to T1 into compression ratio power gamma minus 1, right? So for the same in the process of 3 and 4, right? For the same, we are using the 3 and 4, right? So here the T3 in the terms of T4, here the T2 in the terms of T1, right? So here the T3 we are using the term of 3, 4, and T2 we are using the term of T1. We are substituting these values. We are substituting the T3 and T2 values here. Then these are cancelled. These are cancelled. So 1 minus 1 by compression ratio power gamma minus 1. It is the as standard efficiency of the Otto cycle. This is an standard efficiency of Otto cycle. Always you remember this one, right? So for the Otto cycle, 1 minus 1 by the compression ratio power gamma minus 1. It is the standard efficiency for the Otto cycle, right? So here one more thing we have to note, right? So by increasing the gamma value, what will happen? The thermal efficiency is increases, right? So we are using, so for gamma value 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So depending upon the gamma value, the thermal efficiency will increases, as well as the compression ratio, right? So once the compression ratio is increases, what will happen? The thermal efficiency is increases. Just a minute. Just a second. Is my screen is visible? Okay,
Yes,
right,
sir.
fine. Just wait. Okay, fine. My screen is visible to everyone. Screen தெரியுதாப்பா?
Sir, தெரியுது sir.
Okay, right, fine. So we can stop in this class here itself, right? So in this class we have discussed about the Otto cycle, right? So what is the air standard cycle and how it will works? Then what are the assumptions are made in the air standard cycles, right? So in this class, do you have any doubt on this?